get it back. No, we're going to talk about who's on the CD. We've talked about already Rob Hurst. There's others. Tell us about, you've got Joe Camilleri.
Joe Camilleri playing a saxophone solo, and we've got the Bull Sisters, who I really love, singing harmonies.
Victor and Linda.
Yeah, we used them on a track which I wrote about a friend of mine called Billy Briscoe, who could never get a woman, and he was always doing the Lonely Hearts thing. And the reason he couldn't get a woman, because he lived at Crabclaw Island, which is like west of Darwin, and the most remote place you could ever live. Then he moved to just off the Birdsville track, and couldn't get anyone there, and he finally got somebody, which is great, and they moved there, and then he ended up going to Robe, and he's living there. But I wanted it to be a bit of an ode to rhythm and blues stuff, like long distance information, get that sort of stuff that I used to listen to when I was younger, and a bit of a salute to Ray Charles, who I really loved. So I got Linda and Vicar to sound a little bit like those girls that sang, "Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back, no." I wanted that sort of feel to Birdsville. So I used, and they were just fabulous, using both of those very talented people, and Joe as well.
You're back with Baz, you're listening to Blues on the Hill. It's around about just after 9:30, so still another half an hour with Russ left, and we are showcasing band Deimen's Land, and that last track we heard was one of my favourites off the CD, with Joe Camilleri there on sax, beautiful sax. It just drives along, it swings.
Yeah, it swings. It's my ode to my rhythm and blues sort of things that I love, because I first started listening to like jazz at first, trad jazz, and then it became the Rolling Stones, who are very, very rhythm and blues, not like the rhythm and blues they call today, which is rubbish.
Yeah.
But it was sort of like Bo Diddley and all those sort of acts, you know, and things like John Waters. There was a whole lot of those acts that had that rough edge. It was almost before they went into the English sort of scene, but they were copying all the blues artists from America, but they were putting their own sort of stint on it, which was great. And yeah, it's a bit of an ode to that era, which I really love as well.
All right, before we go to another one, let's just talk about what you've been doing. Obviously, with the success of Sharkmouth, you've just been so busy, haven't you?
Yeah,
but you snuck a holiday in there, didn't you? You snuck a holiday in somehow?
Yeah, I thought what we did, I started writing about 3 months after Sharkmouth was out, started writing some things for this album, finished it in the beginning of November. We went into the studio end of November through December, January, finished it, mastered it, got all the cover and everything done, and then we went to Thailand. This is ridiculous, the whole band went to Thailand for a holiday with our partners.
Why not? Fantastic, a great way to celebrate.
But bands usually don't hang out together, they go their own separate ways, so we all get along great.
Oh, that's great. Fantastic. And now you've just come back from the West. You just did the West Australian Blues Festival on the weekend.
Yeah.
And you're also on the Boz Skaggs tour.
Yeah, I do Boz tomorrow night.
You do at the Palais, and you've been on him around Australia. He's done a few.
Yeah, he's great. A lovely fella. Really great fella, yeah. And he does a lot of stuff off his Memphis album, which is just really good.
And you were talking before, we forgot to mention it, we'll get back to it. Rock Whiz, you did a great, we were talking about Fiona Boys off air.
Yeah, we did a duet together, and one of my very early influences as a song, Smokestack Lightning, which was fantastic.
Which we just can't wait to see you and Fiona Boys. Well, we were saying once again off air, Fiona Boys, an incredible guitarist.
She blew me away.
She's amazing.
Yeah, and a fantastic person.
Oh, lovely.
Lovely person.
Yeah, I interviewed her last year, I think it was, and sat down with her for 40, we had to... But they had to cut us off. We just kept talking and talking and talking, and she just kept, just so much history behind her, and one of the founding members of the Melbourne Blues Appreciation Society.
Oh,
way back when.
Yeah. Well, the funny part was, she's sitting there, and I wondered who the bikie was that she was with. She was going out with this really rough-looking guy, and I said, "Geez, he looks like he's probably an old bikie, an ex-bikie." He's a bloody minister, a priest, and he swears he's funny. He's just great. Everyone loved him. He's the best bloke. He really is a lovely fella.
Yeah.
So next time I go up to Sale, I'm staying with them at the Abbey, which is great.
As you should, yeah. And so Rock Whiz, that is something to look forward to. A duet with Fiona Boyce. All right, we're showcasing the variety on this CD, which I'm sure if you're listening,
Time
you're
is
picking
running
up.
away.
All of a sudden, there's only 10 minutes left. So we better get another live one out of Russ while he's here. We've been featuring Van Diemen's Land and tracks off it. We're now going to do one called Breaker Morant. Tell us about this one, Russ.
Breaker Morant, an Australian who served with the South Australian Rifles and went over to the Boer War, and he was court-martialed for murder and shot. And what was happening over there, from all what I've read, the orders were, they were never written down, the orders were, because the Boers were killing Allied prisoners that were surrendering. So the orders were, don't take any prisoners, just shoot them. And that started happening, but a priest got killed. And the heat came down upon Kitchener, who was the leader of the Allied forces. And they obviously thought, we need a scapegoat. So it became Breaker, unfortunately. So he became the scapegoat. And it was court-martialed and shot. And the Australian government's still trying to get a pardon for him. Still, after all these years.
It was a great movie with Brian Brown, one of the
and Jack Thompson.
Jack Thompson, made famous. All right, you're gonna do this one live for us.
Out in the west of the Trans Valley finds himself serving in the British Empire. Nod's a boy and is so far from home. Breaker Morant, man of stone. Who was a poet and a lover, they say, the only man to ever ride Dawkins' grave. He volunteered to go and fight the Boers, but he wound up answering the crimes of war. On fire under the African sun, on fire under the deeds are done. The orders came down from Kitchener himself, and take no prisoners and offer no help. Nothing in writing to protect those above, 'cause shit runs downhill and it gives no love. It won't fly under the African sun, won't fly under the deeds are done. Was it cold-blooded plan done? And was it laced with the face and the taste of evil desire? Or was it all for Guy and the wink of an eye? Were the last notes, footnotes, scapegoats of the empire? Guerrilla warfare has no beg your pardons. Born as a child in a ruthless garden. Colonial boys, they would take all the blame, but God bless Britannia, they were doing the same. On fire under the African sun, on fire under the deeds are done. On fire under the African sun, on fire.
Beautiful stuff. Once again, it's got that mood. The whole CD, which is what blues is about, isn't it? And what you're trying to achieve with roots music is create mood and atmosphere.
Yeah,
and,
that's right. Yeah.
and all of the tracks just have different moods and atmospheres. Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, I'm sort of happier with happier with the whole sort of concept of the thing. Some songs I wasn't sure if I'd gone too far.
Too far as in?
A bigger, lusher sort of approach.
Yeah.
A bigger, like for instance, Eureka. I thought, gee, have we gone too far on this one? It really sounds like a war. And a couple of songs like Lockhart Gorge, I thought, oh, it's a little bit lush, but I thought, oh, this is a shipwreck. It's got to sound like a shipwreck.
Bit of cello in there, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, gee, we had a girl called Anita Quayle come in, and usually classical players can't play without a score. And we said to her, have you been listening to it? She said, yeah, but what do you want me to play? And we said, well, you got any ideas? She said, oh, a couple. I said, well, just play it. And she played it, and we went, that'll do. Yeah, so what she did was fabulous. So that made it a little bit lusher, but it needed to be that way.
We might go out with that one because we have run out of time. That was Lockhart Gorge we're talking about, wasn't it? No,
yeah.
That's track 6. So we are going to go out with that. Once again, been an absolute pleasure having you back in the studio.
Thanks for having me back. It's great.
Good luck with everything. As you've heard tonight, if you've been listening, it's just a great new release. Lots of variety on it. And there's a reason you've been talking about it all night, that you've got this variety, because the next one is going way back, isn't it? The third in the trilogy.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll go back.
Back to the roots.
Yeah.
And already planned? Already sort of, what's your time frame on this?
I won't start writing. I've got a couple of ideas of songs that I've been running around in my head. I won't start writing till all of this drips off me, which will take about another month, I reckon, and then I'll have a clean slate of a brain, and I can sit down and start looking at the songs.
And so your time frame all along for the whole, you're on track with what your whole plan was when you started the...
Yeah. Hopefully I should start writing in a month, which will probably look at a release around the same time next year.
Next year, yeah. Fantastic.